Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Street Level Strategies. Today, I am joined by Melissa Bowman, Sales Manager and Loan Officer at Westera Credit Union. How are you doing today, Melissa?
I'm great. How are you, Bobby Joe?
I am doing awesome, and I am really, really excited for today's conversation. I can't wait to talk about all the things that you are doing with your agents and communication and customer intelligence within Total Expert. But first off, why don't you go ahead and start with a quick introduction? Because I know that you have just recently, I guess not too recently, but back in 2020, that's when you came over to Westera Credit Union. But you've also had a long background within the banking and credit union space. So I'd love for you to just talk a little bit about yourself, maybe your history in the space, and then we'll go ahead and get into the conversation today.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm really lucky. I've been in this industry a long time. I've gotten to see a lot of different trends. But as you mentioned, I came over to Westera in 2020. When I started in my career, I was actually a broker. And then I had a nice career at a bank as well. And now I'm at a credit union. So for me, it's the perfect hybrid between a bank and a broker. I
Right.
love the level of customer service we can provide. And I love the product suite that we have. So very happy to be here after these 20 years, and I love what's happening in the market too. I think we're heading in a great direction. So I'm excited for us and excited for consumers about all the great things that are coming.
Yeah. Yeah. Something really, really cool. I know I was just on site with you guys and I love talking to the Westera team because something really special about what you're doing there. Just you're right, like the customer service that you guys can provide and also the tools and the suite that they are, enabling you guys with is really powerful. And obviously one of those things and where we're going to talk today is around Total Expert and the ways that you're using it. And so I know there's been a lot of change, right? And we've added a lot of things. We've added customer intelligence and some of the alerting features and things like that. But I love for you to talk a little bit about, some of the ways that you're using the system. Specifically, I know a few things, right? You're leveraging a lot with your agents, which is great. Also being able to communicate with your database. That was what we talked about, right? When I came on site, we really talked about how we can be more proactive with our database and make sure we're staying in front of our clients. And then lastly, customer intelligence and how you're leveraging, those alerts and insights today to also stay on top of your database. So that's what we're going to do. But I would love for you just to start and talk a little bit about how you are staying in front of your agents today. We'll start there because I know that you're doing a lot of work to make sure that you are actively and proactively staying in front of your agent partnership. So why don't we start there?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, agents are the lifeblood of what we do, but they're
Right.
also fickle, out of sight, out of mind. They may love
Yeah.
you one day and then they don't hear from you and they forget about you altogether.
Yeah.
So it's so important, and I'm so glad we have Total Experts who we can keep in front of agents. Old school, I used to try to call people. I would put reminders on
Yeah.
my Outlook. It was great, but it was tedious, and it's great because now we've implemented a weekly rate sheet that goes out to all of our
Right.
agents. Of course, we ask them first if they'd like to be a part of that, but overwhelmingly they say yes. And I get so
Yeah.
many calls, texts, email responses from agents saying, "Gosh, I love this weekly rate sheet. I didn't know what rates we're doing this week, and I had someone call me. I was able to, forward your rate sheet on, and it's
Yeah.
just nice to be informed about the market." We also have a monthly newsletter that we're using, and it has really great information. It's not just recipes and things like that, but
Yeah.
it's definitely information about the market too. Realtors, they don't want you to call them every day. They really don't. But if you're in front of them enough weekly and monthly with valid content, I think they all appreciate that. And it just helps solidify the partnership. So that's been a great addition for us.
Yeah, and one of the things that the themes that you're talking about is education. So I want you to talk a little bit, maybe a little deeper into that of why it's so important to educate your agents, especially um, right now. And I know that whether it be you were saying agents may not want you to be calling them all the time, but they appreciate when you can send them enough education or pieces that they can also use and also educate themselves. So talk a little bit, about maybe that theme of why, education is so important right now with your agents, why you're doubling down there.
Yeah, I mean, they get contacted by so many different lenders that want to work with them. I mean, there's a lot of realtors out there, but there's also a ton of lenders too. And you really want to position yourself as an industry expert. I mean, what
Yeah.
makes Westera and then what makes me different than all the other
Right.
lenders that are reaching out to them? And I think that that's where the partnership aligns really well with having a CRM and
Mm.
having content that you can send out because it shows that that we are aware of what's going on in the market.
Right.
I send other content to them. What I love to in Total Expert is they have the template that we've created where it's a blank email, but I can
Yeah.
send out relevant content to them. So I did send out some content recently about the NAR settlement. I
Nice.
send out, if something exciting is happening, like when the
Yeah.
Fed dropped rates and people were,
Yeah.
kind of confused about that. Why didn't mortgage rates go down? I was able to send out information to them so that they knew that I was an industry expert. I watched the
Yeah.
market. I'm more than just your average loan officer. So I
Yeah.
think that's
And
like,
that is so important to make yourself stand out and position yourself as the loan officer that they can trust, right? And especially
absolutely.
post NAR settlement and post where we're at just in the industry, there's a lot of agents who are confused, scared, don't, it's changed, their nature has changed. So, and the relationship has changed a little bit with the loan officer. So, how can you position yourself as the loan officer who will go above and beyond and knows more and is getting in front of them and is actively speaking out upon, these things that are happening to educate. So they trust that you will also take care of their borrower, right?
Yeah,
Their
absolutely.
clients.
Be an industry expert and then be a partner to them. Like you said, somebody that they trust, somebody that they feel really comfortable passing along information to
Yep.
because they know that you're going to take care of it and you're aligned with the way they do business.
Yeah. And one of the things that, you're alluding to, right, is when we came on site a little bit ago and we talked a lot about the importance of whether it be agents or your database or, in process or, top of funnel leads coming in, right? How are you consistently and proactively getting in front of them through, sending an email or touching base with them and leveraging our new, our the database to be able to segment your database and then push out content to them easily and efficiently when things happen like the Fed cuts rates or, something's happening post NAR settlement, things are happening. How are you actively pushing that out? And it's important not just for agents, but I've also seen it be extremely important to do that. Also give that personal touch to past clients and, folks that you're consistently doing business with.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just like agents are our lifeblood, so are our past clients. I mean, the people that you've worked with in the past can be such a great referral network for you. They can also
Yep.
be repeat business. They're ready. They have a life event happening. They're ready for,
Yeah.
a move up home. They're ready to downsize. They're ready to refinance. Maybe they need a HELOC or a second mortgage. And again, it's tedious to try to craft an email, a personalized email, and keep in touch with everybody individually. It's hard to put together an Excel spreadsheet of
Oh
emails.
my
I
gosh.
admit I'm not good at that. I'm
Yeah.
not.
We're
I'm
working on it, Melissa. We're
I'm
working
not
on
good at that.
it.
And so when I have Total Expert and I have a tool that already has that populated for me,
Yeah.
and then I can just hit send, and I can pre-schedule emails. I love to do
Yeah.
holiday emails. People love holidays. So I love to
Love.
pre-schedule those for the next few holidays that are coming
Yeah.
up and send out some relevant content. Total Expert has a bunch of different choices that we can choose from. The nice thing is internally for us, it's already been pre-screened through compliance. So it just makes it so easy to hit the
Yeah.
send button, know that I've got something going out for Thanksgiving and I've got something going out for
Yeah.
the Christmas season, and and then I don't have to worry about it, and I can take time to spend with my family too on the holidays and
Yeah.
not be working on a holiday to be crafting some sort of email. I've pre-scheduled that,
100%.
and usually I try to do it well in advance, so it's just
100%.
rinse and repeat.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the things that you just said I want to go back to is you're talking about, when you're saying, those life events or those things that are changing within your database that you made a really good point that you cannot physically keep in touch with all of the clients within your database. It's just not possible to do that. So that's why the automation and the ability for you to easily sort and segment and send is so important. But additionally, one of the tools that Westera is invested in, right, is customer intelligence. And that's specific around monitoring your database so that when one of those events happens, right, someone in your database does something that potentially signals a next transaction, you have the ability as the originator to go back. And something that's really cool about Westera, right, is you guys do have those relationships, right? Like they're members, they're part of your community. So you can say, hey, I saw that you maybe pulled your credit or, you listed your home for sale or, the rates have changed and you might, I can provide that level of service. If you get that information that says, hey, you may have equity built up in your home, you may have, potential options for a refinance, right? Or, a lower mortgage payment, whatever that may be, you can actually come at it of like, hey, I've, I'm here, I'm monitoring, right? And I'm also just here to provide a level of service. And that was kind of the conversation we were having, right? Is it's really
Right.
around service, especially at Westera. So I want to talk a little bit about how you've been leveraging those to help manage your database and if you've seen any success with those alerts coming through.
Yeah, I really have because sometimes people get busy and maybe they were going to call you
Yeah.
and reach out to you, but they just haven't had a chance yet. Or perhaps it's something where they're selling their home, but they're not going to be buying another home for a certain reason. But it's nice to be alerted to that because then I can
Yeah.
follow up with them and said, hey, it's Melissa. We worked together last year. I did see that you're listing your home. Just wanted to reach out to you. Are you going to be needing a new mortgage? Is there anything
Yeah.
Westera can do to help with that transition for you? And then
Yeah.
it becomes a natural conversation. It's not a sales conversation anymore. It's just, hey, we worked together in the past. How you doing? We
Yeah.
want to be there to help you with those life events. We want to be, again, we want to be
Hmm.
that expert, but we also want to be that friend and somebody that you feel like you want to keep in touch with.
Yeah.
And I think that makes it a more natural relationship. But I
Yeah.
love the alerts. I love, the listing alerts. I love the credit alerts. I'm so excited about the refinance alerts. I
Yeah.
mean, we've been in an environment where rates really haven't been going down that much over
Yeah.
the last few years, but we know they're going to over the
Yeah.
next couple of years. And so many people say to me, hey, will you keep in touch with me and let me know when a good time to
Of
refinance
course
is?
I will.
Of course I will. But again, do I have time manually to search my database and see what everyone's rate is and see if it makes sense for them? I don't. And so we
No.
have parameters set in place. And the great thing is you can put in your own filters.
Right.
And we have filters set in place of, hey, if rates drop by X percentage, I'm going to reach out to Mr. and Mrs. Jones and I'm going to let them know it
Yep.
might be a good time to refinance.
Yep.
And even if it isn't, they know that you've kept your promise to them of,
Yep.
hey, I promised you I was going to keep in touch with you, and I followed through in that promise.
Yeah.
So that's
And hey, they don't need to know it was automated. They don't
oh,
need
they
to
don't need
know.
to do that at all. No,
They
no,
just need to
they
know that
don't
you reached
know.
out.
Yeah, they just know that we were thinking about them and that we care. We
Yeah.
care about their,
Yeah.
like you said, their life events and then their future business plans.
Yeah. And to your point, I think it's a really good point that that the market is it's not about, okay, we've seen this huge jump and huge drop. It's about being ready for when there might be a little, micro adjustment to where it does make sense for an amount of borrowers, right? So
Right.
it's about being ready. It's less about the right now. It's about what do you have in place so that when that does happen, or there's little shifts or there's little changes, that you are ready to act on that. And the companies who have that will by far outstand and do better than the ones who don't, because they're just not ready for when that happens and they're scrambling and they're not going to get the business.
Exactly, and it's just a touch point. Again, the more that we
Yep.
can touch in with our past clients and let them know that we're still thinking about them. A lot of people, even if they had a positive experience, if you look at the data, they often forget who they worked with. Maybe they know they worked with Westera, but they forgot it was me. Maybe
Right.
they knew it was a credit union, but they belonged to a couple and they didn't remember it was Westera. How can we remind them who they had such a great experience with last time as life gets so busy?
Yep.
So they want to come back to us and they know that we're their partner again, their
Yeah.
financial partner.
Yeah, and honestly, that's what this is all about, and have a special place in my heart for the Westera team. I just love the mission behind, right? Like, you guys are really service oriented. You're really there to serve your clients and serve your members. And I am just very thankful, Melissa, for you jumping on today and just sharing how you are leveraging the system. It's been awesome to get to know you over these past couple months, and I hope we continue to get to know each other and talk a little bit more and see different ways that Total Expert can really help you and your team's business and all the fun things. So again, thank you so much for
Aw,
jumping on. It was great
you.
having you. All
Yeah,
right,
it
we'll
was
talk to you
great
soon.
talking to you. Thanks, Bobby Joe.
See you, Melissa.